Hey, welcome to the Huntsville Hustle podcast, where you highlight the small business owners that are the backbone of the Rocket City. And today we have my friend Amanda Hooten, and she's the CEO of Blaze Solutions. They're skyrocketing to the top. You need to hear about these folks. So, man, I'm glad you're here to tell us about it.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here and talking with you and your audience today.
Absolutely. So, I always want to know kind of the story, how this came about. How did Blaze Solutions become a thing?
Yes. Blaze started because I kept seeing the same gap over and over again. I've been talking to people in the community, different companies, big and small, and even different industries, and they all kind of have the same problem. They're brilliant teams with big missions, but they're struggling. And it's not because they don't have the talent. It's not because the people, aren't the right people. It's just that the people side of the business wasn't getting the attention that it needed. So I started managing teams at 16 years old, and so I've been doing it for over 20 years. I've been building teams, leading large programs, and cleaning up operational chaos. And the pattern became impossible to kind of ignore. These great companies, they're not failing from lack of talent, they're failing from lack of clarity, accountability, and then leadership. Blaze was born out of that belief that businesses succeed when their people do. If you take care of your team takes care of your customers, and then your customers will take care of your bottom line. I kept seeing organizations that either didn't understand that or understood it, but didn't know how to create a culture that actually embodies that. So I built a company that strengthens both the systems and the human side of those companies.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's most entrepreneurs. They see something. Well, somebody should do this.
Yeah,
Nobody's doing it, so I'll just do it, right? So
yeah.
I'm gonna fill in
See a
that.
problem, solve it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you how you explain that so people get it, but you already did that. So that was an excellent explanation just on how it became a business and like who you want to work with. So kind of tell me your ideal client.
Yeah. So for me, I think the ideal client is an organization or a leader that's growing fast and they've kind of hit that point where what's got them here isn't going to get them there. So, maybe they're at their 5 employees and they want to get to 20, or maybe they're at 10 million in revenue and they want to get to 30. And they're just really not sure how to do that. They feel that complexity rising, the team's a little bit bigger, the stakes are higher, and the old way of operating just really isn't sustainable anymore. But the key is that they're ready for change, right? Because not every organization is ready for change, and that's okay, right? We've got to be prepped for that. So I'm really looking for those companies that are willing to face the change head on with their team, not avoid it or patch it over. They're looking for clarity, structure, strategic plans, and then real accountability, right? So they're not looking for a consultant who's just going to show up and drop off a binder and then disappear. They want a partner, someone who can step in, get hands on, build something real and lasting with them, specifically those systems, that culture, and then those leadership habits as well, all of it.
Man, I love how you said they got to be actually willing to change. Right. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Right. Why you call me in if you're not willing to change? Right?
Yeah. And I do see that a lot too, right? And so it's asking those really hard questions of, are we ready for this? And if the answer is no, that's okay, right? There's some steps to take ahead of time. And I've done that too, where I've had some calls with some folks and we were saying, it doesn't sound like you guys are quite ready for this yet. And we talk through what those next steps are for them. And then I say, call me back when you're ready, right?
Excellent. There you go. I like it. If you're ready to work, Amanda's ready to work with you. So that's it.
Yeah.
So, was there a moment, kind of you've been this not that long in the big scheme of things? Was there a moment when you
Yeah.
said, "Hey, this is actually a full business. It's not just an idea anymore."
Yeah, I think I knew it was a real business when I found myself answering the same questions over and over again. So it didn't matter who I was having coffee with or what organization they were at. The stories were all different, but the problems behind them were all the same. Everywhere I went, every underlying issue had something to do with a lack of true accountability. And by accountability, I don't mean blame or punishment. I mean clarity, ownership, follow through. Leaders who set expectations, teams who understand their roles, and a culture where commitments actually mean something. When I realized that almost every organization across different industries, sizes, were all struggling with this exact same thing, it clicked for me. It wasn't random and it wasn't occasional. It was a systemic gap that I knew how to solve. And that's when Blaze stopped becoming an idea.
There you go, man. You're pretty polished at this stuff, man. You're really good at it. You haven't been in business a full year, and you're crushing it. All right. So you've seen a lot of the same business problems, kind of here. Are there like a little small fix that you can do that's seen a huge difference in people's workflow and their profitability? Even this little small fix that you help people.
Yeah, I think the biggest one, and it's small on the surface, but it's a little bit bigger underneath. I kind of like to think of it as an iceberg, and it's a single point of failure, right? Every company has a bunch of single point of failures, and if we can eliminate those or limit them as much as humanly possible, it makes a huge difference because most bottlenecks happen because only one person knows how to do something. So when that happens, the entire business moves at the pace of that most overloaded individual. So if you can really do anything, it's to make sure that there's redundancies that are built in or that there's two documented ways to do things. And for smaller organizations, that's when you can bring in consultants to help and support you so that you can actually have a day off when you need it. And then, of course, for those larger organizations, it's making sure people are trained in multiple positions in all kinds of different things so that you can make sure that you create clear ownership paths, who those backups are, and then trust into your operations because then you're going to speed up your delivery. You're going to reduce the stress for your team, which is huge. And then you're going to stop those operational traffic jams, which drain both your time and your money.
Wow. Yeah, I love it right there. I didn't even think about that. Your slowest person is,
Yeah.
kind of leading the team, right? So that's great if you can
Yeah.
fix that. Like I said, it's easy on the surface, right? It's small on the surface, but huge impact on the other end. So on the flip side, is there a business process mistake you would love to eliminate across the board for a lot of business you see?
Yeah. So the one that I see the most of, and I have suffered from this personally as well, it's when every decision flows to one leader. And that can be within a department, it can be within a team, or it can be within an entire company, right? But everything slows down and it creates a culture where people hesitate instead of taking ownership. So hire a good team and trust them to do their jobs, give them clear authority and then, of course, boundaries, and let them make the decisions that they're responsible for. And just as important, don't undermine the process by stepping in and then redeciding for them, right? That's where accountability really breaks down. But the truth that I think most leaders forget is that even if the wrong decision is made, it's an opportunity for learning. Most people learn best by doing, by making the call, seeing the outcome, and then adjusting appropriately. That hands-on experience builds stronger judgment and more confident decision makers. So when leaders distribute decision making, support that learning that comes with it, and then the entire organization will become faster, healthier, and dramatically more scalable. And again, you're reducing all of that bottleneck, right, that we talked about a little bit ago, so that not every decision is flowing through to one leader,
Who wants to make all those decisions anyway? That's too many.
right? Decision fatigue. Nobody
Yeah.
wants that.
I get it. I get it. If your menu is too big at your restaurant, I can't function. I just point out a
Oh my
picture.
gosh. It's so true. And I will do that. I will like focus on one area and not read the whole thing because I'll get overwhelmed, especially after making decisions all day, right?
That's it, man. I can't do anymore. I know to delegate some of that. Help out. Yeah, like you said, that's why hiring your team is so important. I'm glad you brought that up as well. So
Yeah.
Huntsville's a really unique place. So what do you love serving these Huntsville businesses specifically in our area? What's so unique about working with the Huntsville business scene?
Yeah. I love Huntsville. I was here for 3 months many years ago and absolutely fell in love with Huntsville and decided to come back. And I wanted to make this my home. And that's because of this incredible blend of ambition and humility that I see in this community. We're surrounded by innovation and engineering talent and such mission driven people. But there's also this large sense of community overall. Something I've seen is that entrepreneurs here genuinely want each other to win. It's that like rising tide lifts all boats mentality. And I haven't seen it anywhere else I've lived. I've been multiple places all over the country, different states. And that's the only thing I've really found here is this idea that entrepreneurs want each other to win. Like you win, I win, we all win kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that's what this podcast is all about. Just putting us all together. There's so many good people in this community. So, how many people that like someone in the small business community? Is there someone that has influenced you and supported your growth along the way that kind of pops out?
Oh gosh, it's kind of hard to just pick one. So I've been very fortunate in this community that I've been a part of the Women's Economic Development Council. I've been a part of Momentum, Leadership Greater Huntsville. I was even a chamber ambassador once upon a time several years ago, which was a really cool experience. And these groups exist and thrive because our business community is so strong here. And so they've really given me so many opportunities to learn, grow, and then most importantly, I think to connect. So through those networks, I've met people who just reach out all the time. When I started Blaze, the response was overwhelming of how many people said, how can I help? What can I do? Let's get together. Let's collaborate. Do you need me to introduce you to anybody? And I didn't have to put that ask out there. The community that is here in Huntsville reached out to me to support me. And I think that's really the heart of Huntsville. This city surrounds you with people who genuinely want to invest in your success, right? It's a place where collaboration truly does outweigh that competition. And I think that's a big part of why Blaze does exist today.
There you go. You need that community support. It's definitely good here. By the way, my guy Troy Skinner, our mutual friend, he highly recommended you for the podcast when we were talking about people we should have on. So just talk about that. Another small business owner that said, "Hey, you got
Yeah.
to have her on. She's a superstar in the making, and you got to have her on." So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Troy is amazing, right? He's actually made a couple of different connections for me. We got together for lunch a couple years ago to answer a couple of questions for him as he was starting his business and working through some things. And it's really become an incredible connection. And I have so many people like that one little tiny thing has led to five or six other ones. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's a great part about Huntsville. You're like one connection away from just about anybody around here. It's pretty small,
Yeah,
but big enough, right? So,
exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
entrepreneur, you got to evolve pretty fast along the way. So, how have you changed personally the most since you started Blaze Solutions?
Man, so that's a hard question because I've changed quite a bit in the last year. Not just within the business, but I've gotten married, I've moved. It's been a year of a lot of change. But from the entrepreneur perspective, I think I've learned I have to draw confidence from myself, not from the people around me. In past roles, I've always had large teams, layers of leadership and peers and mentors. And it was easy to pull energy and reassurance from those people beside me or above me. But now, with a much smaller team, they're all looking to me for that confidence and direction. And so, my job is to lead them with internal steadiness, not wait for external validation. And so I really had to learn to trust myself, and that gives my team permission to trust themselves too.
And nobody wants a wishy-washy leader, right?
No,
You
no, they
want the
definitely definitely
steady
don't.
person at the wheel, right? So,
Yeah.
kind of along that same line of thinking, like, is there a leadership habit or kind of a mindset shift that's kind of helped you run your business?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this before we started recording, but for me, the biggest thing has been slowing down to make a decision, and then of course speeding up to execute. So I don't know if you're familiar with DISC assessment. Well, actually, I know you are because I've heard on your podcast some of the other folks that you've interviewed. But I'm a high DI, which means I move very quickly. I make decisions very quickly. I'm wired for speed, right? But when I started this business, I learned that I really need to slow myself down on the front end because I make dramatically better decisions when I do that. It does give me that space to operate from a systems thinking mentality. So I'm considering the ripple effects of my decisions, understanding how decisions connect across my business, and then, of course, evaluating what's best for Blaze, not just today, but in the months and years ahead, right? Because I'm always trying to think strategically about where we want to go, not just where we are right now. So slowing down has really helped me to look at the entire picture, our mission, our structure, our team, and then decide ultimately where we want to take Blaze. So that shift has really changed everything. And it's now how I lead and how our business is growing.
And that's a tough balance to figure out, right? So, I mean, speed has helped me, and it's also hurt me in the past, right? So,
Yeah.
it's got to
Yes.
find in that balance.
It is. It is definitely a balance. And I put some specific rules in place for myself. And I don't know that every business can abide by the same rules, right? Depending on how things go. But I look at time on how a decision is going to impact the business over time. And then that gives me a time on how long it takes me to decide something. So if it's a really big decision, I have a rule that I have to have at least one sleep before I actually make the decision, right? Because that keeps me to make sure that I'm going through all of the different possibilities, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's a related question. Is there anything else you've had to kind of unlearn as a business owner? Any of the habits from the past?
Yeah. I think the biggest one has been doing more equals achieving more. I have that picture of the rat on the wheel that just keeps going, right? And I think sometimes the most productive thing you can do is really stop and simplify and build a better system, right? Not a longer to-do list. Been a big one for me to unlearn that I don't have to just keep doing and doing and doing.
Oh, man, that one took me forever to learn, but it's so important. I wish I was as smart as you. Like, you learn it much quicker than me, but that's
Yeah.
a huge one you can learn right there. So,
Yes, absolutely.
we have a lot of small business owners who are listening to this. So, if you could give them one simple process they could improve this week that would lower their stress, what was one thing you could give them this week?
So I kind of have two, and you'll understand why. The first one is for the entire team, and it's the 24-hour email rule. So if you're a party of one, this is real easy, and if you're a small team, it's even easier. But it's reply to every single email within 24 hours. And that's even if the reply is simply, hey, I got it. I'm not going to be able to get to this till next week, right? And of course, if you've got people out of the office, you want them to have an out of the office up on their email and or who the next person is that can help with things. But it's incredible how much anxiety and frustration disappears when people know they're not being ignored. So simple acknowledgement creates that clarity. It reduces those follow-up message and it keeps things moving. So that's one. And then for the leaders specifically is just a weekly leadership rhythm. It's a 30-minute meeting and it's not necessarily 30 minutes. It can be 5 depending on the size of your organization, but just where you review those priorities, risks, and decisions, and then any blockers that you've got for the week with your entire team at the beginning of the week. So that eliminates a lot of those fire drills that happen later, and it makes sure that everybody's focused on the same goals for that week, right? So that we're all working together and not against each other. So those two things, that clear communication with the emails and then intentional leadership, I think those really reduce chaos almost instantly in organizations.
It's awesome. And I think you'll see your energy levels go up because you don't have 400 open mental tabs that are just draining you slightly from different
Yes,
areas, right?
yes, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's a good rule right there. Good rule. It's good to have. I love you practice what you preach, right? You talk about
Yeah.
processing, you've got process for yourself too, as well as your clients. So I like
Yeah,
to
and
do it.
that 24-hour email rule is actually in our handbook, right? So it is an expectation that we set with our employees day one. That is in there.
There you go. If nothing else, the auto reply is your thing,
Yeah.
right? So just get it
Yep,
in there. So,
exactly.
all right. So I know you're a forward thinker. You've mentioned that before. Where do you see Blaze Solution going in the next few years?
Yeah. So for me, Blaze is going to become the go-to partner for leadership and operational transformation in the Southeast. That's our goal. It's not just to support businesses, but it's to develop leaders who transform their teams, their cultures, and then ultimately their communities. So that's really where we want to go in the next few years.
There you go. What kind of impact you looking to have? What's your? You said the Southeast. Like, what kind of impact do you want to have?
Yeah, I love that you asked this question. And it's because, for us at Blaze, impact is really the backbone of everything that we do. We do ask the question all the time of what impact is this decision going to have? What impact is working with this client going to have, right? And I think if you were to ask 100 people to tell you a leadership story, 90 of those people are going to give you a negative leadership story, and maybe 10 will be positive. Long term, I want to help flip that narrative here in Huntsville and then this greater community of the Southeast region. I want us to be known for leaders who create that clarity, that accountability, and cultures that people are proud to be a part of. So, there's a reason people say that people don't quit jobs, they quit their managers, right? Most workplace pain comes from leadership gaps, not the lack of talent or passion, but it's because they've got leaders that just really weren't taught how to truly lead. And so we need a mindset shift, leadership that serves the goals of the organization, but also protect the well-being of the people inside it, right? One of the things we do at Blaze is we've got a policy on burnout and preventing it, right? Because it's really important to protect the well-being of the people that you have. So over the next 5 years, if we can help support just even a little bit of being helpful to leaders becoming better, more accountable, more self-aware, more supportive, then that's a mission that is absolutely worth being a part of for us.
There you go. So I knew impact meant a lot to you. I read your website. Okay, I know it.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
So yeah, if you look at the website, they're very very impactful on impact, right? They love it. So
Yes.
I figured. So that's a great answer. Like that, I think all of us, when you heard leadership story, a bad one popped in your head. You're exactly correct.
Yeah.
We pictured that bad
Yeah.
leader, and man, if you could just flip that on his head a little bit, how much the world would be different, right? So,
Yep.
and this may be the most stressful part. This is the rapid fire section right here. So, I mean, people
Oof.
get stressed out. It's very stressful, but you can handle it. All right,
I hope so.
we're gonna we're gonna blaze through this. That's my dad joke for you today. So,
That's a
all right,
great dad joke. Love it.
what's one business tool you can't live without?
Excel. It's a super boring answer, but it really is my favorite. It's so versatile. I actually even changed the column width to create like a grid so it doubles as a bullet journal for me. And so then I have a spreadsheet for quick computations, but I can keep all my notes on another tab. So it's Excel.
You light up when you talk about Excel, man.
It's terrible, but it's true.
You're so excited about Excel. There's a lot of people, a lot of successful people love some Excel, man. So,
It's,
all right,
it's true. It's true.
all right. What's one piece of advice, the best piece of advice you've ever heard?
Oh gosh, a bad decision is better than no decision. Leaders can adjust a decision, they can learn from it, they can move forward, but you can't steer a parked car. So bad decision, better than no decision. Best advice ever.
Then on the flip side, what's the worst piece of advice you've heard?
Okay, so this one I actually get from my husband, he told me this once and it was so funny to me. The worst advice is the early bird gets the worm, but specifically because the second mouse is who gets the cheese, right? So that just really stuck with me because again, I'm that high DI, so I'm very much the early bird gets the worm, but that really helps me in slowing down and thinking more strategically. So being first doesn't necessarily mean you're right,
Who wants to worm anyway?
right?
I'll be eating worms first thing in the morning. Come on.
But some cheese
I'll
with
take
a
the
little
cheese.
wine,
I mean, yeah, let's sleep in, have some cheese and wine. That's what I'm talking.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
All right, what's one word your clients would describe you with?
Strategic. Yeah.
There you go. All right, so how about your family? What's one word?
Driven, sometimes to a fault. Yeah, I'm driven. Very
Yeah,
driven.
I mean, since I've known you, that's I would describe you that way as well. So,
Yeah.
what's the first app you open in the morning?
Oh, my email, unfortunately. It's another habit I need to break.
I
I need
appreciate your
something,
honesty.
yeah, I need something a little more positive there, but it is my email. It's the first thing I open every morning.
You got to be honest, so I appreciate it. I appreciate the
Yeah,
honesty.
yeah.
So, what's your favorite productivity hack?
Zero inbox philosophy.
Oh,
So I don't know if you work with this, but every email gets processed, replied to, or delegated, scheduled, deleted, so nothing lingers. So anything that is in my inbox at any given time is actually actionable. It's something I've got to do. It really helps keep things organized for me because I get a lot of emails.
I'm gonna tell you what my wife says for when she tells me stuff. She's like, "I like that for you." Like, whenever it's like a backhanded compliment, she's, "I like that for you." Like I am the opposite. I have like 4 million emails. I'm that guy.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's just like bless your heart, you know.
If your business had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh gosh. So at Blaze, we very much live by the idea of like working to live, not living to work. So we joke that our theme song is "Working for the Weekend" by Loverboy.
That's a classic, Loverboy.
It's great. And our team, we have a wide variety of ages on our team, and so it really hits for everybody. It's great.
There you go. And I think we're all, if we're honest, we're all working for the weekend, right? We're
Yeah,
all.
exactly. Working for the weekend.
What's a book or podcast you recommend to every business?
Well, of course, Huntsville Hustle, because
Thank
everybody
you.
should know about small
All right, let's
businesses in
turn this thing
Huntsville.
off. We're good here.
But as far as a book goes, I read a ton of leadership books. I love them, or I listen to them, I should say. I always do Audible. But I think Emotional Intelligence 2.0 has been the one that has been the most impactful for me and the most impactful for teams I've worked with. It's a reminder that our emotional intelligence, our EQ, is actually a skill that we can improve. EQ, a better EQ makes better leaders. So that one for sure.
Yeah, that's a separator for sure, man. If you can work on
Yes.
that, it's a separator.
Ooh,
So,
big difference.
so I really like asking this question. It's not rapid fire. This is a regular question. So,
Okay.
what's one specific way our podcast community can help you this month?
Sure. Well, I would say the big one, right, is if you know an organization or a leader that's growing fast, or they're feeling overwhelmed, ready for that change, like we talked about, just send them our way. Send them to the website or find me on LinkedIn. Helps. We really want to help leaders create that clarity, that structure, and that accountability so that they can breathe again, right? And then, if you're not ready to work with us directly or don't know someone, the other big one is just to connect with us on social media. We share practical tips, leadership insights, tools that can, help any organization start moving in the right direction. So that's another really big one.
Cool. Then the follow up. Hey, what's the website? What's the social medias? How can we connect with you
Yeah,
guys?
sure. So if you want to connect with me personally, the best place is on LinkedIn. I'm at the Amanda Hooten, long story. But for the company, it's blazesolutions.com. And then, of course, Blaze Solutions on Facebook and then LinkedIn as well. So you can always
Awesome.
get a hold of us there.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll link all that in show notes. You can just go click on stuff. You're not a great speller like myself. So you can just go click on it. So, man, this is perfect. You did a great job. Thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Joe, I've known you for so long, and I genuinely really was so flattered when you reached out and asked for me to be on the podcast. It meant a lot. So thank you for that.
Oh, thanks for coming on. You did great. And if you're listening right now, please share Amanda and Blaze Solution with somebody that she can help. They can make an impact in there and change some things around. If you're ready to change, she's ready to make you help make that change in this year. So let's get with her this year. Let's keep growing each other, keep sharing this episode. And we'll see you guys next week on the Huntsville Hustle podcast.